So yeah, Del, if you just go into like an introduction, just do a little intro about yourself, because obviously Matt's never met you.
Yeah, sure.
We just go down a little.
Sure. I joined the job in '87. Would you believe? 1987, where I left sort of Tyneside, and me mum and me nan, brought up by me mum and me nan. So, and you're thinking, why is he mentioning that? Well, it's relevant because I didn't have a father figure.
Okay.
Because frankly, my dad was a complete not a waster, alcoholic, wife-beaten idiot. So I was brought up by two very strong women. So people, and according to sort of society, you're supposed to. I'm from a broken home. I'm supposed to be in a complete toe rag and gone the wrong way. Not having a male role model and all this nonsense in your life, which is rubbish. But yeah, brought up by them, and then leaving Tyneside to come to London to join the Met was like massive for me.
It's a big move, isn't it? Not just distance, but like the culture between London and Newcastle.
Yeah, massively so. Jones are very warm people,
Yeah.
We have been for many years.
What made you go for London and not local?
I did try for local for someone who's Northumbria and the rejected us. I think it must have had something to do with vetting, don't they? So my background checks on me biological donor, shall I call him, because he wasn't father. Mustn't have come up very well, but so they rejected it. So in those days there was 42 courses, and I said to my mum, I'm going to just keep going on down every one of them, like Eric.
Nice.
Yeah.
And just said, I'm going to spend the next year doing exactly that, because I was on the dole, I was stuck on the dole. I was going to be stuck there like the rest of my mates. Some mates were, but they weren't doing anything, in my estimation, worth doing. I was quite ambitious, but I was sort of, I don't know, it's weird, really against a culture that was like, well, you leave school at 16, 17, you probably go and work in a factory, or you'll do some manual job, and there's nothing wrong with them, there really isn't, but I didn't have that character.
Yeah, you had your mind set on the police already at that point.
Yeah, I had a great uncle who was an ex-marine, proper bloke, ex-marine, was decorated, and then went into the Ports Police in sort of down south somewhere, and I remember as a small kid him relating stories, and I thought, I'd love to do that. But
so
didn't
he was your like main male influence then?
Yeah. And
you say not having a male role model, he was sort of kind of that anyway?
Yeah, he lived in Hornchurch. I remember going down on holidays and stuff like that, and he'd be like, encouraging me and saying, Derek could join the police. Me join the police? And even my mum went, and my mum was my greatest advocate. Derek's too soft to join the police, surely. And I was very soft.
Too soft, really?
Too soft, yeah.
Wow.
You wouldn't believe.
I would never believe that.
You wouldn't believe.
Not knowing you for the last 12, 15 years. Yeah.
Too soft.
Wow.
And I didn't even believe it myself. But I don't know, something clicked in it, and I thought, why not? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So anyway, I'm going a long way around it. But yeah, it was hard to leave, and I did. Came down to the Met in '87, joined Hendon.
How old were you then?
22.
22.
Yeah.
Just up sticks.
Literally up sticks and went.
Fair play.
With most of my family, apart from my mum and my nan, saying, he's going to make a success, and the rest of my family going, he's too soft, he'll be back in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. 22 is a young age to join that job, isn't it? Like,
I think so.
And I was at the time, a similar age that me and Jeff would have joined. I was 23. You obviously a bit younger when you joined.
As a PCSI, I was the same
age,
22.
And I know from my own experience that I wasn't a man then. Like until I was going into a man's world. So it's interesting you said that you're going into it with your family, you're thinking you're soft, and you're going to do something big at the age of 22.
Massively so. Yeah. And you're right. You were going into a man's world, and you were going to London.
Yeah.
So like, don't know if the same for probably not for the same for you guys because you're from down south, aren't you? But up north, the scene is it's bad down there. It's like muck and bullets. It's like Beirut also going on. Even in the 80s. You imagine in the 80s.
Yeah.
In the 80s. You talk about mental health and how it affects us and this and that. In the 80s,
mental health didn't exist, probably
didn't exist. You either get on with it, you grab your balls and you get on with it to be a man, right? Or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're ostracised. It's that simple. Yeah. And they used to sort of, in those days, as you know, just go out on the drink after a shift and get mortal drunk, as we would say in Tyneside.
Love that.
That doesn't go on so much now, does it? Of course it doesn't.
No.
I'm not talking about get mortal drunk. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a good thing all the time, but just associating with each other, it was done in a more manly way, wasn't it? Whereas this, in those days would have been
wouldn't
seen as...
Yeah, this never would happen.
No, they would have been seen
right,
as, what's wrong with them?
The culture of that run has definitely changed, because I remember when we joined, early houses was a big thing.
Yes.
Do a night duty. So we'd do a night duty, so 10 p.m, or back then it was 9 till 6. And then you'd finish your night duty, you'd all get doled up, you'd all go out to Central, to the pub, to have a big breakfast, and then everyone's getting smashed. And you'd stay awake the entire shift, the entire morning, everyone's going to work, and you've done a whole night duty plus that, and everyone would get hammered. And if you didn't go to that, I wasn't a drinker, I didn't drink. So like you said about being ostracised, I would say, I'm not doing that, I'm going home to sleep. And you were looked at as a bit strange, because you're like, what do you mean it's not going to the early house? Like, so sorry to pull away from the story.
No, they'd speak about you, wouldn't they? They would speak about you.
Put in a box, yeah.
There's a massive issue with that, as you're right, and you rightly identify that. It's like social norms, isn't it? It was the social norm to do that, and if you didn't, you're not part of the team.
Especially as a probationer as well, because you're looked at, you're judged as a probationer, like, what's this new bloke like? Is he alright? Can you talk around him? Like,
what's he got about him?
And then if he didn't, he doesn't drink. He ain't going to the early house. Oh, stay away from him. Like that's
part of the rite of passage,
yeah, 100%.
And literally they would ostracise you and not so much trust you back on duty either. And I know the two are different things, but you wouldn't be trusted.
No, but those have gone now. There's not. I don't think no response team I know of there's an early house anymore. They've gone.
No, just even tea breakfasts. Like, on duty, that's gone. Like, it used to be a big thing on B team when I started.
Massively so. B team was a solid team.
We'll definitely get into what's one of the topics we'll talk about what's changed. But
absolutely,
you're 22.
So I'm 22. I come down. I'm in the jungle of London. I come down to Hendon. That's super tough.
Yeah, I bet.
Marching in uniform everywhere. I'm getting up at the crack of dawn. I'm trying to get through all these exams. And
how many weeks do you have to do?
22 weeks.
Proper.
22 weeks. You have an exam each week.
Yeah.
And if you fail an exam, you get back class.
Okay. Yeah.
6 weeks back class. If you fail 2 exams,
6 weeks. So 6 weeks. That's when the next course was behind you. Basically. Yeah. So you just have to
knock you back. Knock you back.
Sure.
Some people were back classed twice. So their class was passing out.
Yeah.
And they're still there going, I'm still here.
Yeah.
6 weeks is a long back class.
Long time. Yeah. Long time. Luckily enough, I didn't get back class because I don't know. I had to get on with it. Yeah. I just had to get on with it. There was a culture. I mean, there was very militarised then.
Yeah.
You had to stamp in and salute every inspector, anyone above inspector that had headgear on, as long as you had headgear on as well. You had early term parades, and it was full tunic, full #1 dress uniform.
Really?
And you would stand at the Peel statue in formation and be inspected. And we had a particular sergeant, they weren't power trips, of course they were, particular sergeant, so a little bit of lint on your lapel. We'd never call you by first name, they'd go, lint on the lapel. And they looked at the person behind me and go, you're Hewitt's teammate, you should have spotted that. Early turn, whole parade, tomorrow again, which means they we'd have to go to bed early and then get up early to do another parade. And they'd keep doing it. And it was hard, it was tough, but...
Standards.
Standards,
isn't it?
Yeah, I got to 19 weeks and nearly gave up. Literally in tears, I said, this is too much, I can't put up with it.
What was it that got you to that point, do you think?
Different culture. Wasn't being sort of amongst people I knew. You got the pressure of having to know your classmates. You trusted them in the end, but you know what it's like. It's nervous when you meet new people. You don't know who they are, you're trying to trust them. Even when you're on a course in a job.
100%.
You go and you're thinking, go through all this shit again. Can you get up and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and all that nonsense, and let's go through role plays. Oh please, and even as an ex-trainer myself, role plays boring. No one wants to do them. No one wants to do. And just the whole culture and what was to come as well. I thought, well, if I can get through Hendon, that's great, because the attrition rate to get in those days was 8 out of 10 failed, just on the application. And the attrition rate at Hendon was 60%, so 40% didn't get through the course.
Big, yeah.
Which is quite big.
Yeah.
So a few of my classmates got their heave-ho and were told to go home.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, when I get posted, what's going to happen? This is all very strange. I'll be a new copper. I do get posted. I get posted at West Hendon Nick, which is not too bad, but and then your street duties instructors are pretty much akin to old sweats who really can't be asked to be there. Can't be asked to teach you. especially having a Geordie accent, I stood out from the crowd.
Yeah. Were you the only one with an accent?
Only North Easter, yeah. My nickname.
How many was in the course?
On the whole of my Hendon course, we had, how many in my class? 30 in my class, and I think it was 200 per course, and they were coming through every 6 weeks.
Is that big? Is that?
I'd say so, yeah. My course, I was quite lucky to be in one of the biggest courses that they went. It was like 500 strong. That was like a big recruitment drive for the Olympics. Like when my first shifts was aid on the Olympics.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they just brought in so many. But yeah, 200.
Is that when you joined in 2012?
As a PC, yeah.
You spad, Jenny.
yeah. Came straight into level 3 aid, straight onto the Olympic age, yeah.
Good lad.
Good times, but 200 is probably about right.
Yeah.
Now, you wouldn't get close to 200.
So I only had about 40-50 on my course in 2019.
People don't want to be our bill anymore though. People don't want to join the job anymore. It's really hard to recruit.
Understandable.
Which is something we'll get into later on.
Yeah, understandable.
So what are you doing for your living arrangements at this point? Because obviously going to Hendon, you're residential, so you're living in Hendon, so you've got to worry. You've got to find rent quickly if you're getting posted, or how does it work?
Yeah, I mean,
the section house job, was
my fiancée then, who'd moved down, she was literally living on the corner in Hendon.
Oh, okay.
She had a job in central London, and we were going to get married literally after I had my passing out parade, and I got married the next day.
No way.
Yeah, back to Tyneside, got married the next day, and then we ended up renting somewhere in Hendon.
Oh, okay.
So
which one was the best day?
No comment.
Well, I'm divorced, so it says that.
Brilliant. Bloody hell.
But we'll get to the reasons for that, perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah, so all the pressure of a new life down south, with a partner, and she was from up north.
Did you pick the borough? Did you have a choice of boroughs?
They just literally posted you.
Wow.
Posted you, so I could have gone anywhere. Luckily enough, West End is not too far from.
It's not bad.
Yeah, not far from Hendon anyway, which is now Colindale, where they moved it to.
Yeah, well, it's like NW now,
yeah, absolutely, that
changes.
So being on borough for the first time, obviously back then you got no body worn, no Met vests.
Nope.
What else didn't they have that they do now?
No Parva or CS as it used to be.
Yeah.
All you had was flexi handcuffs.
Yeah.
And a little stick.
Is that without being rude, the old truncheon, the wooden truncheon, or is that? No, so you've got.
We're getting back to the first. I said you'd go a step.
So it's just in black and white back then.
Sorry.
Running around with a whistle.
It's a protected characteristic age,
He's a young pup.
Yeah. So you're running around with a baton and.
Yeah, it's like
just that, essentially.
A 6-inch, no, 12-foot one style truncheon, with a strap on it. And it was seen as aggressive, eyes off now.
I think it's the strap on it.
I don't know, these water families can't take money back any.
6-inch strap.
We're lucky to have a wake, to be honest.
A wake? That's a skip that, do you know?
That's what I mean. Brilliant.
So all jokes aside, so you're literally just running around with a baton
and a pair of cuffs
and a radio.
And they were them bat thing radios, with the big leads on them.
Oh yeah.
The big battery pack. That when you ran, it went all over the place.
Did they actually work, radios?
Yeah, all right, not too bad. But as a probationer, if you were to pop up on the radio, nobody really took any notice of you.
No,
I thought, what's he on about?
Yeah, no, that's it.
And if you were panicked on the radio, you'd be like, oh, for goodness sake, what's wrong with him now?
Yeah.
So you could have been getting a kick in,
and
they just think, oh, Geordie lads are overreacting again.
Yeah. Did they have the red button? Like there was no like MR.
No, you just
emergency.
If you could get your button, you just have to call urgent assistance and press a button.
Yeah.
But if for some reason some suspect or whoever had taken your radio off you, you'd be knackered.
Yeah.
Knackered, not like the ones that are now, where they locate where you are and within reason, and all the rest of it. No, not at all. So yeah, tough. West Hendon, mostly shoplifters, sudden deaths. So imagine, never seen anybody who passed.
Yeah. That's something we spoke about before, like the amount of death that officers encounter was something that I never expected. when you joined the police. So
never seen
anybody. Did I tell you about that?
No, face is still there now. You can see where we call them random eye accesses, as you know, when we're memorising stuff, when we're recalling stuff, your eyes will go a certain direction. I can see it now, it's in my head, I can see the person it was, and all the thousands of others.
Do you remember your first one?
Yeah.
So I remember my first sudden death as well. It's funny how that one scars you, like
very clear.
Prisoners, chases, all the exciting stuff. Don't really remember them, but I can remember the sudden death clear as
and the
yours
location,
was years before mine.
And the location, and the circumstances, the house, and everything, very vividly.
It's funny how that scars you.
If I could remember exam details in that detail, I'd
be genius, man. Wouldn't be a proper mate.
Crazy how it sticks in your brain like that, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's.
But yet it still affects you.
Yeah.
And I'm talking 32 years ago, still has an effect on you. Massively so.
No, it always will though, won't it? It's like you said, it's just the smallest thing can jog your memory and you can just see all of that again, and so it's a rush of emotions can come back, and sometimes for me it comes at the worst of times, but it's heavy.
Very much so. Yeah. Very much so. Even driving past somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Drive past.
Yeah.
We spoke about this, didn't we? About how you can experience some like a traumatic incident where you work, but then you're probably driving past that every single day.
Constant reminder.
Every shift onwards, it's a constant reminder that that happened at that house, that happened on this street, and you don't get when you're literally confined to like a borough or wherever you work, you literally just see it on you all the time.
Like you're a prisoner, isn't
it? Yeah.
To your own memories and emotions.
So I'm guessing you're getting no debriefs at this point. There's no, if you went to like a particularly hard job or like scarring job, your line manager's not sort of pulling you in going, you're right there, Del Boy, like how was that? There's no, that didn't exist.
Can you got this sudden death? Can you got this BID, brought in dead, you used to call them then?
Okay.
So people have been died in, I don't know, died in a home and they were brought into a hospital, and we'll have to go along and identify them.
Oh really? Okay,
yeah,
that's different.
And check them over. And just like sudden deaths now, where we have to go in and have a look and make sure there's no foul play and stuff like that. As an older serving officer, you generally don't get sent to them anymore unless you come across it yourself, as you know.
Yeah.
Just to me, ironically, really strange, found this. That's meant for probationers and young constables, and they're probably the most ill-equipped to deal with it.
Yeah.
So if you and it's crackers, it's roundabout face. It's almost like it's a rite of passage. Send them to the sudden death.
It's an
the gorier, the better.
Yeah.
You crack. This person's been. I will go into gory detail because it has an effect on your psyche. It's been there 6 weeks and it's in the middle of summer and it's 90 degrees outside, and a neighbour has smelled a strange smell coming from, and you and I both know what that means. The smell of death, and we all know, you will never forget, and the smell of death, you'll never confuse it with anything else. You know the smell of death. It's hard to explain.
You can't explain it.
Can't explain it, but it's a smell that you never want to smell, but when you do smell it, you go,
instantly.
I know that.
You know what's coming,
Awful. And probationers get sent to that because they go, CAD room, being a CAD operator, of course, and come in and go, sudden death, all these circumstances, smell from the neighbour, blah, blah, blah. Not seeing milk on the doorstep, loads of posts piling up, elderly or whatever, or could even be young these days, middle summer, saying, what's that probationer doing? The probationer's probably got 3 weeks in, right? And just like when I first started, come down from Tyneside, relatively sheltered life, happy-go-lucky, very soft psychologically, will send them. You're sending them into a psychologically traumatising, scarring situation. So it's all about face, and it's only just clicked with me recently that, and I thought, why do we do that? You're better off sending, if it has to be done, which it does, because we are society's bin men, aren't we? Fire service, ambulance service, police, we are all society's bin people. Society does not want to have to deal with that shit, so they send us in to deal with it. And yet they criticise us in the manner that we deal with it. 100%. Crazy. Still can't fathom it. But we're going to send a probationer in. We should be sending in, if we have to, an old hand who's done it month in, month out, year in, month out, because you could argue psychologically we've built up a resilience after what we've seen. So we are going to be far more resilient, and it is an argumentative point, and probably be less psychologically injurious to us to have to deal with that because we dealt with it before, rather than somebody that's first gone in and gone. And I've been a street duties instructor, and I've seen probationers literally freeze on the spot and go, and that's trauma. Yeah. And you have to go, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Not the street duties instructors then did ask me if I was okay. They just go, get in there, get it done.
Well, again, it comes back to the whole early house conversation. If you didn't go in there, you were then treated like the same person that doesn't drink at the early house.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean the probation didn't go in there?
Oh, you froze.
I remember Miles, my old skipper, one of the probationers on my old team. A fox was eating the person's leg.
Yeah.
And it was like a real grim job. And there's a fox in there chowing down on this guy's leg. And they were like, brilliant. Get all the probationers on the borough here now. Like it was like a draw them all in like Avengers Assemble style. Probationers assemble. And one of the lads there wouldn't go in. And rather than being like, let's have a talk to him and see why he doesn't want to go in, maybe we can make it easier. But then the devil's advocate side of me thinks you need to see it.
Yeah.
Because it does. Like you
do need exposure. You need to know how you're going to react to these things.
But it needs to be done. Exactly.
It just needs to be probably more controlled than
it needs to be done
just shoving you in on your own.
Yeah.
You go down with that old hand.
Yes,
you go down with the crew
and the old hand
can say, well, this is what we're likely going to see. This is the situation. Rather than if you're doing it on your own, you haven't got the coping mechanism. You don't know how you're going to react.
No.
Yeah, you're right.
At all. When they're dealing with other members that could be there.
Do you get that in the fire service? Do you do because like the police, we deal with dead bodies daily. Like, do you have like a system in place for that?
So the most common sort of dead bodies we see now when we go to assist the LAS, effect entry. So they'll be basically we would have got called to a property to that someone hasn't been seen for a certain number of weeks. Exactly the scenario you were describing. Mail building up, they can smell something maybe, or they just haven't been seen. Their carer's not been able to gain access to the flat for a couple of weeks, etc. We'll get called to go and effect entry so the LAS can go in. That's probably the most common scenario where we see dead bodies now.
Yeah.
Where we go in, we'll do the door for them, or have to get in through a window, whatever, and then we find them in there. They've been dead, whether it's in bed or they've had a fall, and then that's the most common thing. But because again we're always in a team, and I've said this before, there's always 4 of us there at least. That you can go in, and it could be a case of you don't have to go in and see it if you don't want to.
Okay.
But if it was a new recruit, I'd probably recommend that they could see that scenario where it's not going to be as tragic as seeing something that they might see, just to have that early exposure of seeing their body, because a lot of people join the job and they won't have seen dead body, or maybe even someone hasn't died in their life yet. They might still have both their grandparents, for example, and they haven't experienced any death whatsoever.
In common with me,
And if they can experience that in a controlled setting, I think that's probably good exposure to get used to start even just processing how to even deal with.
Would your probationer get sort of pressured though? Do you think there'd be that pressure for them to go in, or is it?
No, there wouldn't be that pressure. So we did have a scenario where one of our it's not a newish recruit, we've had someone start since, but he started a few years ago, and he just seemed to be having a run of bad luck that every time he went to one of those shouts, they were dead every single time, to the point where he was like, I don't want to go on these shouts anymore, because when they come through the printer, I know it's a dead body already.
Yeah.
And he totted up a lot of dead bodies quick in a short space of time that he got there. Where he was like, you know what, you guys do the door, I'm going, I'm alright, I don't need to go in and see a dead body. It's not like a badge of honour that you can be like, heck no, I've got this many dead bodies, I've only done 2 years and I've already seen 20 dead bodies, or whatever. And he was clocking up a lot, so he was like, you know what, you guys did the door. And I was chill, and there was no pressure there.
That's good.
At all. We wasn't forced to do anything.
Because you wouldn't get there.